Did I mistype it? Okay, I mistyped it. Apparently I'm a pleb. Okay, there we go. The fight's on. Okay, she lands the first hit. I counter. I use Psyblades. And she fucking crits me as if rock Pokemon are effective against Protoss. Protoss aren't weak to anything. That's bullshit. Double crit. Get fucked. Get fucked, Scarlet. That's right. Apparently, Protoss is highly effective against your shitty Geodude. Get out of here. I might not be able to take your MMR or ladder points, but I can fuck your Pokemon up with me Zealot. That's all that matters. What do you think about Blizzard stopping support for Heroes of the Storm? Do you think SC2 is necked? No. I think it's sad. I think Heroes of the Storm was a game which had a massive investment happy scar. And I don't know the numbers or anything, but... And I'm not the person who has all the inside knowledge on this, right? You need to talk to other people if you want like an inside source. So I'm literally just going to be speaking out my ass. I'm going to assume they were spending about 20 times as much money on Heroes of the Storm. And I'm assuming with BR games and all the awesome new games that are constantly coming out, the player base is probably 1/5 or 1/10 of what it was a few years ago when they first really invested in HGC. I'm guessing. I know their viewer numbers weren't too great. A lot of people still tuned in for the end of year finals. They still had an awesome scene. I really like Heroes. But I think one of the problems with Heroes was that it came out as the most casual, accessible game, which is a great thing to do if you're the first into a market or even possibly the second into a market. But MOBAs was like the most oversaturated, dominated market by the time Heroes of the Storm came out. So whilst it did attract a lot of players for a period, and don't get me wrong, it's still competitive. Just because I'm saying it's casual doesn't mean it's not competitive and it's not pro, right? Doesn't mean it. I fucking love Hasselhobbs and all the other pros that played. You know, there's a lot of really cool competitive gamers who played Heroes and it still had a good competitive scene. But on the base level, base experience for plebs like myself, it would make you hop on and feel like you're not shit at the game, right? And that's what Blizzard's very good at doing, kind of with Overwatch as well. Making you not feel as trash as you are, right? It's all about teamwork. Everything lives or dies by the team. Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch, like Heroes is almost like the precursor to Overwatch in that regard. For very competitive players, sometimes this is very frustrating though, because the power of making individual plays is definitely not the same as in other competitive titles. So anyway, long story short, I feel like it captured an audience, but that audience, I guess, has moved on. Otherwise, why would they be... they just must not be making as much money. Now, why was it getting so much more investment than Starcraft? Because, they were making a lot more money. All the in-game transactions, it was a free-to-play game, right? You never had to play for Heroes of the Storm, but it was all like, as long as there's people playing it, there's people buying skins, it had a great income stream, so I'm sure they could just use their marketing budget. They could say, hey, the game's making $50 million a year, we can spend $20 million on esports to keep that number up there. And then when that number started going down, they're probably like, oh, we're ditching this. We'll still run some tournaments, but it's going to be, a shell of what it used to be, which is really sad for everyone involved in the scene. And it fucking sucks. Don't get me wrong. But I imagine that's kind of what went on there. StarCraft has a very stable player base. Very, very stable. That is not affected by any other game releases. StarCraft is one of the only games out there where the only thing that affects the StarCraft player base is it spikes up whenever we have a piece of content, and it will just slowly drop down a little bit over time, but like only a few 100,000 players out of the roughly 2 million that play every month, right? And then it goes back up to above 2 million when there's a new bit of content or something, then it slowly peters down back to like, 1.7 million or whatever the fuck the number is, right? So StarCraft is this game which has got such a weirdly hardcore player base. We don't give a shit about other games. A lot of us play other games, but we still play StarCraft at the same time. We don't stop it. There's no competing RTSs. There's a lower overall investment because we never had the ability to look at StarCraft and say, hey, we're making so much money off in-game transactions. Even though they're trying to, they're doing more war chests, they're doing more skins, and they've started moving in that direction. I feel like StarCraft is still, not the same. Now, I'm not to say I'm not worried at all. I'm not like, oh, StarCraft's going to have the exact same investment. I mean, we saw some stuff definitely look like it was getting a little bit toned down at Blizzard with all of that esports investment and stuff. And I think this is natural for a lot of companies when they spend a lot of money on a lot of projects. They try to invest in a lot of different things. At some point, they're going to consolidate and say, this is worth it. This isn't worth it. We want to keep doing this. We don't want to keep doing that. Who makes that decisions? How that gets made? Fucking enigma to me. I have no idea. But, I mean, Starcraft, we've got, so many cool things. We've had the first, trial sort of Olympics event with Starcraft. Starcraft is the original esport. It's got this deep history. We've got, Google AI, the DeepMind guys working on Starcraft and trying to break the next level of like interactive strategy kind of gaming with the most complex game in the world, which is Starcraft 2, right? And all of these things to me say, I don't think you're going to suddenly see Starcraft esports disappear. I would say, I think Starcraft should be pretty good next year. I don't get me wrong. I don't know that much though about all this stuff. If you speak to the other people who are more involved in all this, I kind of do my own thing. I sometimes talk to people about this stuff, but not as much as a lot of other personalities who are more in the know. They talk to more people behind the scenes. I kind of just do my own thing. I just chill the fuck out and play my game and enjoy it. I was pretty affected by the news about Heroes because it's fucking sad. That's it. It's sad, right? It was really sad. It was a big piece of news, man. So that definitely, it affected me as well. But I don't think the same thing's going to happen to StarCraft. I think it's also something, old mate Docs, who used to run a lot of the tournaments in the Australian scene, he was tweeting and he's like, the scary thing about this is just, you can see how reliant a lot of scenes are on the developers. And that's this weird thing that happened in the last 5 years where suddenly, like after, well, more than 5 years, right? League of Legends created the biggest esport in the world, all based off of in-game sales, right? And that creates a competitive scene which is very, very much tied to how much money the game is making. And it naturally creates a kind of, inevitable fall off, right? And a lot of scenes have followed that model now. The scenes were smaller back in the day. There wasn't as much money because there wasn't that direct, like, hey, the game is making money. Let's use esports to promote the game. And then the money made in-game is going back into esports. The esports promotion is feeding back into the game being popular and making more money. But that also means if the company decides it's not worth it or they're not making enough money, like, yeah, esports will just stop for X game. And that's just how it works. And it's a weird system. It's a fucking weird system compared to traditional sports, right? But we'll get there in terms of things will change. It's going to be fascinating to see, what if we can get games that are kind of not as controlled by the developers. At the moment, everyone kind of wants a piece of esports. The developers want absolute control, and they're kind of getting it. Is it good for the scenes in the long? I got no fucking idea. Scarlet's still ganking me as per usual, but it's definitely a scene. We'll see this sort of stuff more over the coming years. Like, do you think League of Legends is going to be like the same 10 years from now? Like, probably not. At some point, they're going to fold that up and put it into a new game. Maybe it'll be League of Legends 2. I don't know. We'll see. But like, there's going to be, StarCraft 2 will fold down and we'll be doing Warcraft 4. And StarCraft 2 will kind of have like smaller and smaller tournaments in 2030 or whenever the fuck it is, obviously, some point in the future. It's inevitable. At some point, things will cycle onto new games. So